Breakfast with Russ, broadcasting from Wajak Country on ABC Radio Perth.
Now, you know that Wittenoom is dangerous. It's a health hazard. I know it. It's the largest area contaminated by asbestos in the Southern Hemisphere. That lethal mess, you'd think, would be enough to ward people off, right? Well, it has some people fascinated, so intrigued that they're travelling to the remote Pilbara to have a sticky beak. So many tourists want to look, it's prompted the Asbestos Diseases Society of Australia to dish out a warning. Melita Markey is its CEO and with me now. Melita, good morning to you.
Good morning, Russ.
Is tourism really booming in Wittenoom?
It is, Russ. We were horrified by some images that were flashing across social media last year about adventure tourists. There was a lot of videos circulating, went worldwide actually. And so we decided to monitor this behaviour on social media and see what was really going on, and we were quite horrified. So we decided to develop a communication strategy that would hopefully get the message through that there is no safe level of asbestos exposure.
You know, are there people in Wittenoom now?
Yes, there'd be people now heading across. We are tracking it. We're getting images every, 12 hours or so. People are just going there. They're heading into Karajini, and then we had some information from a family that followed another group, said, we're going to go and take a look at Wittenoom, and they followed them there with their children. And there's photos of them there walking around. There's photos of them in the gorges with all the huge amounts of dust, asbestos tailings that have been dumped in between the gorges.
So are they, in these photos and videos that you've been able to see, are they being cautious? Are they wearing safety gear? Do they have masks?
No, they're just having fun with it, looking it up, holding pieces up. It's just terrifying because children are very vulnerable to asbestos dust because they're closer to the ground, their bodies are growing. So these are very minute fibres. And what people don't realise, the fibres that cause the mutations in the pleurisy in the lungs are the fibres you can't see. And blue asbestos is particularly deadly because the fibres are very minute and very sharp.
My guest is Melita Markey. She's the CEO of the Asbestos Diseases Society of Australia. I'm talking about, can you believe it, sort of adventure tourists going through Wittenoom. How do they get in? Like you'd sort of think that there was a locked gate somewhere there. Is that not the case?
No, it's a very broad region, and one of the issues they have done, the government as part of the introduction of the Wittenoom Closure Bill last year into Parliament, they bulldozed the road as a disincentive and put signs up. But these days, the people that are heading to those areas have all got four-wheel drive, so it's part of the adventure. We even had the RAC publish in their travel guide the 8 most spooky towns to visit, and Wittenoom was number 8. So again, it's got that sort of mystique about it. We contacted the RAC and they changed that, thankfully.
Yes.
But it doesn't change the fact that there's a mystique out there about this spooky town where there's lots of people have died. It's a challenge, I guess. And also the other thing with younger people, I guess, they don't. We actually took the view they probably don't understand Wittenoom's deadly legacy. And so we thought we had to really re-inform a new generation. So they might just not realise, and that's why we felt it was important. And what they don't realise is that, asbestos diseases generally develop with cumulative exposure, like workers working, they get asbestosis and then can develop to deadly cancers. But what people don't seem to understand, you can have a very minimal exposure and the fibre can sit there and mutate for 20, 30 years. And we know that with the young children in Wittenoom, and also people that were infrequent visitors, so a jockey for the races that I visit, an air hostess that was in town a couple of times. People have developed mesothelioma cancer, and that's what people actually don't understand, is that you are at risk. You need to keep out of Wittenoom. And as far as we're concerned, the deaths won't stop until visitors stop to Wittenoom. We really need to focus on keeping people out of the region. And it's a real shame because it is absolutely beautiful. So the attraction, you can see why the attraction is there.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but, Karajini's gorgeous. Stay there. Stay out of Wittenoom. Melita Markey, thank you so much for joining me, the CEO of the Asbestos Diseases Society of Australia.
This is Rusty for breakfast. ABC Radio Perth and WA.